Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Excited to have this very interesting conversation in English, right? In English.
Yeah.
I presume it should be in English. We have two guests from this panel will be joining online, but I don't know. I think this is a very interesting conversation with an exceptional group of guests. So we'll be covering how the fast developing AI landscape is changing everything, right? But mostly in terms of AI adoption for VCs, for startups, but also I would love to have your thoughts and open up the discussion and make it broader a little bit for larger companies, because this is something that's happening, and I think that if we don't do it fast, right, it's going to be doomsday for most of these companies. I heard there's a McKinsey report that says that only 11% of the larger companies is being able to fully efficiently incorporate the AI technology right now in their operations. And I thought this is a high number, right? I thought this number is already high, 11%. It sounds high to my mind, but I would love to hear your thoughts. But before stepping in, do we have the connection of,
yes.
of our friends? And I know Nico, we're missing Nico Bonaccio, which is, he's online, wonderful. I know that most of these people are here for Nico. He's our superstar. But yes, I would love to have a round of introduction, like take 1 minute to say a few words about yourself, your background, and then we'll jump into the conversation. Yes, Alex.
Should I start?
Yeah, I don't want to say, okay, wonderful. Yes, can you please?
Okay, first of all, let me tell you, I mean, I was amazed by the enormity of the event. I mean, this grew to be a small event.
Yeah.
Now it's a packed house here at the Stavros Niarchos. So, I think congratulations are due to George Nikolatakis and his team for putting all this together. Just, kudos, bravo. And I was actually an angel investor in his company, so I'm very happy to see that, my investment, I guess, on the person, really not on the company, has produced these results. So anyway, my background, I studied electrical engineering in Greece. I went to Columbia, New York to do my PhD. I stayed there as a professor for 10 years, working video compression and communication. Then I started my own company, which I sold later on to a Canadian one, and then I switched to the investment side. So I've seen the whole sort of cycle of technology development, and now I'm my partner at Big Pie Ventures, operating here in Greece, investing in early stage deep tech companies.
Wonderful. Alexandros?
Yeah, I'm quite more boring than Alex. I'm Alexander Panagitopoulos. I'm a financier, if you can say that. I've served under several disciplines, and I work for the Hellenic Development Bank for investments. So what we do is we pull money together with private investors, and we invest in funds that make those kinds of investments, the ones you like. And one of those is Alex's fund.
Thank you very much.
Big Pie.
Yes.
Hello, also from me. I'm Spiros Kiadopoulos. I'm also amazed by the volume and attendance in this event. I was also last year, so there's no comparison actually in this year's event. So I've been working with Deloitte for almost now 7 years in Athens, but also with a brief tenure in our office in the US, in San Francisco. So my main, if I may say, current focus is to identify, explore Gen AI use case from our experience from other Deloitte firms internationally, and trying to find which ones make sense and which ones could be leveraged in the Greek market. And we're also implementing Gen AI solutions for our customers, which are mostly major corporations across industries, and also across technology. We're not focused on a specific technology like OpenAI or Google. We're agnostic in terms of technologies. So that's it in terms of a brief intro.
Wonderful. François, bonjour.
Yeah, so hello. Very pleased to be with you, and at least virtually. Hopefully next year I will be on site. I'm now an investor, part of the French, let's say, oldest private equity firm, 72, formerly Apax Partners. And before that, I spent more than 30 years at BCG, where my last role was being responsible of AI transformations for tech companies and telcos, and at the same time leading the BCG Anderson Institute, which is a BCG think tank, where my own research was on the adoption of new technologies by non-tech companies, especially AI. I'm also a fellow at Harvard on these topics and a member of the American Society for AI.
Wonderful. Nico, I'm surprised you're with us. It must be very early in San Francisco right now, like extremely early. But I also said that most of our audience must be here for you. Please tell us a little bit more about you.
Hi, Pano. I'm excited to be here with all of you. Thank you to George for inviting me. Wow, I'm amazed that there is so much interest for AI in Greece. It's fantastic to see, and this hopefully will be the beginning of something beautiful. And we could put Greece on the map to become like a destination for all things AI. I'm Nico Bonatos. I'm a partner at General Catalyst. We're a global investment and transformation company. I've been with our firm for the last 15 years, and our mission is to invest in positive and powerful change that endures. I'm obsessed with early stage investing, in particular partnering with technical founders who are building products for themselves. Wonderful. It is early, but I'm excited to be here.
Wonderful. So yes, there are a lot of different angles to approach the topic, and I'm going to try to do my best on creating a conversation that seems concise, but please feel free to jump in and share views, ask questions between the panelists. I think that I'm the least expert here, but I will try my best. From the beginning, I would step into individual questions for each one of you, but I think I would love to hear your thoughts. This is a quickly moving landscape right now. It's evolving by the day. So I would love to hear your thoughts on a broader perspective. Like, where is your focus right now? What gets you excited about AI? What are the trends that you see that, I don't know, energize you the most? It can be industries, it can be specific companies, it can be challenges that haven't been solved yet. But I would love to hear, a broader view of what's happening here, and then we'll step into the questions. Yes.
Okay. So look, we are definitely experiencing a transformative phase, in technology deployment. I mean, in the past, we engineered ourselves away from mundane manual labor, right? Yeah. And now it seems we are able to engineer ourselves away from mundane intellectual labor, okay? Yeah. So that has already started, okay? And of course, in the US and, in some centers in Europe, they are leading in the core AI technology development, but there is a lot of work that is already happening in deploying this technology to use cases, okay, in creating companies that essentially will automate a lot of aspects of our daily life. So for me, this is fascinating to observe. Of course, as an investor, we're in there, we are receiving a lot of proposals from founders, etc., to finance projects. So it's a very exciting period, and I'm old enough actually to have lived through the development of the internet, as you all know it. I mean, the first browser was invented in 1994. I was a PhD student at the time. So I've lived through this evolution. Yeah. So, thankfully, I'm still around to experience this, yet another, major evolution. Yeah. So I think these are great times. And I think for companies, from my point of view, you must either deliver something in your product that makes use of Gen AI, and actually use it to build your own product. Mm-hmm. So I think founders and technologists should absolutely try to do both, yeah, in order to survive and not be in the 89% that will, yeah, perish, because they don't adopt it.
Yeah, and yeah, I would love to cover then with the VC guys here, you and Nico and Francois, how are you supporting the founders in this changing environment, right? Because they also facing a huge challenges. But Alex? Yeah,
I have to speak like an institution, being a sovereign investor. We're very happy about the evolving environment in this, because due to the crisis, and even before that, we had a lot of Greeks migrating outside Greece, some coming back like Alex, others staying abroad. So we have a very vibrant ecosystem of both ends of the lake Atlantic. Yeah. So we have a strong communication between those two ecosystems, and we are very happy that our funds, because we need to invest in Greece, being the HDBI, we are very happy that we have people that are offering to mentor or cooperate with our funds, create value in Greece, and probably, reskilling the whole population, the vibrant population of the students we have here.
Yeah.
So this is something that's very important for us because we do not only look at the returns like an LP, a private investor, but we have this sovereignty that follows us.
Wonderful. Spiro?
Yeah, I think that the term fast-evolving AI landscape is an understatement. I mean, every day you learn something new, you see something new. We start, for example, building something for a client, and it changes 2 or 3 times during the course. And AI has become like a marketing buzzword in almost everything. And anything that can be even remotely associated with AI is now baptized as an AI, which is something I think that will maybe stop being done maybe in the near future because of things like the AI Act, which enforce certain regulations, certain requirements for companies that have AI solutions. But I mean, for us as a company, we try to create assets, AI assets that can help us both internally to improve our internal operations and efficiencies, but also towards our clients. So as I said, across industry, across companies. But I think what also kind of excites me in recent news is the energy element. All these models, solutions consume vast amounts of energy. You see companies like Google and Microsoft teaming up with nuclear energy companies to feed and to leverage on this kind of energy abilities. And the other thing, I mean, for us, okay, as a consulting company, we also focus in governance and center of excellence in terms of this kind of solutions. Because I think what's happening here is there's a lot of shadow IT in AI solutions. People are using publicly available Gen AI tools like ChatGPT or whatever, which are not approved or assessed by the IT of the company, maybe putting some risk into the company's confidential data or their own confidential data or the client's confidential data. So this is something that should be governed more properly, having the proper workflows, proper governance, proper bodies to govern all these kind of things, to have the proper strategy. And for us, this is also where we are targeting. And along with the other thing, which is the AI Act, to assess the AI solution of the companies, make them compliant with the already enforced AI Act, which came actually in force from August of this year.
Yeah, wonderful. I would love to hear your thoughts later on how can EU increase its competitiveness, right? And how can we match what's happening in the world? It seems like we're falling a little bit behind, and I'm sure there are things to do, and some in motion already, right? Francois, how about you? Where's your radar? What are the opportunities that you see right now? What excites you?
So what excites me, I don't know if it's excitement or if it's a question, is about the agentic AI, which is creating new business models. You know that when we talk about SaaS, it's usually software as a service, but now with agentic AI that is able to make sure and makes things end to end, it could become software as a service. So the question, as we have in our fund many software companies, is about how will it impact SaaS. I still believe that SaaS will somewhat remain, but it will get challenged one way or the other. So it's really about the adoption of AI, as it was said, both in a way to make sure that you have a good old re-engineering, but this time powered by AI, and that you are becoming much more efficient, but as well about what you need to do to revisit your business models and your offers. So it's all this balance and all this fast transformation. We are entering a permanent revolution. Which means that the agility of companies and how you make sure that companies are leveraging these tools, these models, is becoming really important. And what I see in Europe is the fact that we are not ahead. I believe that Greece has the potential to become the Silicon Valley of Europe. If you go for that, you have the ecosystem, you have the talents. So this is one thing. But at the same time, I can say that the EU Act, I don't think is a good way for innovation. And I was the other day having dinner with Lord Holmes, Chris Holmes, who is leading the bill in the UK, which is much more pragmatic, 9 clauses. not only considering individuals as citizens or consumers, but as employees as well, and trying to make sure that they are building a very competitive country.
Wonderful. How about you, Nico? Where's your radar now? Focus.
It's a great time to be investing and building in AI right now. Any of you, if you visit San Francisco, we're living through the AI Renaissance era. It's like anyone who's in their 20s or 30s or older, and they're really passionate about building in technology. In particular, if they want to build for other tech companies, they got to be, in SF. Like SF is an amazing place now, has enormous energy, and it's one of the few places in the world, other than Florida perhaps right now, that people are very optimistic because they're building the future. And what's awesome about it is that it's not just hype. Like over the last couple of years, yes, we've been hearing about like AI everywhere, but now you see it, like the company's revenue is going up really quickly. There are enough examples today of AI first companies where the revenue is going up quickly. And this is not also, just the revenue. For those of us who have a portfolio of companies, you also see that the productivity is going up. So you see companies that are now approaching to have some early scale, they don't have the need to hire as many junior developers. That's like a big deal. You can imagine this happening with many of the other functions of the modern companies. And we at GC are pretty active investing in this, service as a software, model that Francois mentioned. So we have a number of AI-powered roll-ups that we're exploring for the next generation back offices of the modern company. We have one in the legal space. We have another one in the call center space. We have another one going on now, even for some boring industries, homeowner association industry, because you have so much opportunity to boost the productivity of verticals or functions that historically have been pretty low productivity. This is like an awesome time to see this technology go after powering the broader services economy, which is like about $16 trillion every year versus the entire software economy is like less than $1 trillion every year. So you see the numbers, are much bigger here. The other thing that's going on in more like practical terms is you can see with Gen Zers in particular, the ones, who are the aliens that are taking over the planet because they're the next generation. They have their own ideas of what they want to explore and spend time on online. So consumer internet companies now are experiencing a renaissance. Most of what we've seen has been around enterprise, but ChatGPT, all the kids in the US and all over the world use it for homework. So it's a consumer first company. Now, if you're somebody on the younger side who knows how to speak TikTok, knows how to speak Discord, you know how to put together a video, you get a lot of views online, and people are hungry for AI demos. So do anticipate in the next few years, the landscape of consumer companies will be rewritten, and there will be AI first, companies.
And I bet we have a lot of prospect founders in the room, right? And also prospect investors, but people who would like to make to tap into this opportunity. And I'm wondering, Nico, you see a lot of founders, early stage, product focused, product passionate founders, right? I'm wondering, in this new landscape, has it changed what gets you excited about founders, what you're looking for them, what persuades you to invest in them? What are you looking into them at all?
Yes, I'm a generalist early stage investor. The only thing I care about is if the founders are as impressive as they sound today, how much more impressive they could be in 3-4 years from today. Yeah. That's the only thing I care about. Mm-hmm. I know it sounds, like cheesy and like, what am I smoking? But we are in the business of identifying, partnering with freaks who are become like incredible learning animals. And today they might be clueless about what market they're trying to create or whatever they're building, but in 3-4 years will be the world's experts.
Yeah, wonderful. Francois, and I think that we might not have time for the second question, so I'm going to make sure that we finish for the first line of questions. Francois, you have an amazing and very interesting experience. You worked for 30 years at BCG. You worked at the telecom industry. You worked in China for a lot of years, right? You were there when AI, I don't know, was leading the transformation in countries that we didn't even, pay attention, I guess, until it was way too late, right? And then now you're in Paris, which is the heart of AI, one of the epicenters of AI. You saying that Greece can become an ecosystem of AI, I think it means a lot. I hope it will become one. But Paris is definitely one, right? So I'm wondering, from all your experience, right? You've seen larger companies in corporate technology. You've studied AI. What can we do as Europe? What are we missing? What are the opportunities that we're not still matching as a continent?
So I think that first of all I believe that, but we have it now, but that the EU AI Act is really a pain for companies because it's not providing the right environment to innovate. And I think that this is what we are missing most. How do we make sure that we innovate? And I think that in Europe, Michael Porter, the professor at Harvard, used to say the competitiveness of a nation depends on the capacity of its industry to innovate and upgrade. I believe that we have the capacity to innovate. We have good startups. We have difficulties to make them scale up. That's one part. The second part is more about, I think, the AI adoption by traditional companies. And in Europe in general, France in particular, we bring companies to palliative care instead of making them evolve and transform them. So for me, the key element and what we need to do is to make sure that we support companies to embark into this journey. And what we are missing most, in my opinion, in many European countries is the fact that we protect jobs more than we protect people. And what we know is that every job description will be drastically transformed. So if we are not in a position to make our companies, traditional companies, evolve in this environment and transform themselves by protecting people and not jobs, what we call flexi security, I think will be in a problem. I don't know how many companies I have met, traditional companies that were telling me, oh yeah, it's great to have an innovation, but please, where was it already proven? And that is not something that we can deal with at the moment.
I started the conversation with sharing a data that only 11% of the companies have managed to fully...
And I don't trust it. It's even lower.
It's even lower, right? It sounds really high. But let's say that only a fraction of the companies today manage to fully make the most out of the AI potential, which I would say is zero. No one is fully making the most out of AI's full potential. It's only being unraveled as we speak, right? But I guess you working with larger companies, what would be the priorities that you would like, larger companies in Europe, how can they contribute to the transformation, to the revolution?
And I think that the way they should contribute is really in supporting startups of scale-ups in bringing their product at scale. What I see very often at the moment is the fact that only basically traditional companies in the US are making this work.
Yeah.
And with this job, that is to bring and to take an innovation that is a nugget, but that is not fully at scale yet, and bringing it to the right level because they were able to see something. And this is not something that we can see a lot in Europe. In my opinion, this is what we need to change. Otherwise, we'll become an underdeveloping continent.
Nico, is this something that we can learn from the US market? Has the larger corporations and of course there's a big tech which changes everything, but do the larger corporations support the AI revolution and transformation and startups?
I think, as Francois said, we're still early. like for enterprise stuff. And you can see that from the revenue that like OpenAI and Anthropic have. So unless you're a business executive working for like a big company or the government today that just woke up from a coma, probably you've heard of AI and your board has been telling you, you gotta be doing something about it. And you've hired some people or you work with some consultants to make it happen. But, you know, like the revenue that Anthropic and OpenAI and others have that is selling to the enterprise is in the few hundred millions of dollars, you know, a year. So like the total revenue, you know, like maybe of everyone selling to the enterprise, a couple of billions. It's really early days. But everyone, you know, is eager to try new things and things are moving really, really quickly. So is there stuff to be learned from the US? Yes, I would focus on the learnings that the tech companies have, because they're the ones that are the innovators. It's a hard space to follow, as some of my fellow co-panelists mentioned, and you got to be an excellent technologist and often a second timer. If you want to build for the government or if you want to serve, you know, other large enterprises, you got to be amazing at good market and at technology because things are changing very quickly.
Wonderful. Alex, how is you know, this changing landscape making your work to support founders different?
Look, in many ways, you know, what you mentioned about McKinsey is fantastic news for venture capitalists because we invest in companies that basically want to displace these older, very slow, sort of moving companies. So in that sense, you know, this is good news. What I would like to say is actually that something which is not sort of broadly known, that Greece is extremely well positioned from an academic point of view to address AI questions. And the reason is that traditionally the math that is used in AI, which is sort of linear algebra, probability, etc., this is something that we have been extremely good at. So if you look at the major sort of textbooks that have been used in the US to train electrical engineers, some of them were written by Greeks. And in fact, even today, there are, you know, very esteemed sort of professors in AI-related fields working in Greece. So this has created a diaspora of students who are like all over the world now, right, that have been trained at this. So it's up to us, by the way, to tap into it and sort of convert it to meaningful companies. It's not easy, especially because here in Greece, we are lacking, you know, in terms of entrepreneurial spirit, but it's certainly, it's certainly growing very well. Look, what I've seen is that, you know, something which is, I think, relates also to Europe because, you know, we are struggling with a lot of things. One of the important things that I think we are also lacking in terms of hardware. What I see a lot these days is companies like deploying NVIDIA chips on the edge. So in other words, you know, NVIDIA became huge. It's not accidental, by the way. It's the largest company by value in the world because to run all these things that we are talking about, you need hardware. So in fact, AI put hardware in center place because you need the computational power to do all the math. You are concerned about power consumption, so you need efficient hardware to basically do all this. So the hardware question, I think, you know, will underlie everything that we do in the coming years, especially when you put ESG concerns into it. Okay, this thing that explodes in front of us takes power, takes physical devices to really run. So we have to put that somewhere. We have to power it. Okay, so there are questions of, you know, how we're going to manage that. I think all these things are very much coupled. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Are you worried that there's a generation of founders who built something before this wave, right, and they're now going to be leapfrogged by ecosystems that are closer to, you know, research and where AI is born?
No, I think thankfully, look, we live in a world which is very, very, very connected. I mean, there are companies now that are fully distributed. So San Francisco is great. I spent, you know, a very large part of my life in that area. But, you know, thankfully, you can do wonderful things elsewhere as well, okay? So no, I think, you know, things are extremely well. I think we're very well positioned. In fact, in Greece now, we are happy that we have several funds investing in this, in Europe as well. So I think, you know, there is a global effort. And, you know, as usual, people will come in, you know, we don't train the founders. We expect them to come with the ideas. We're there to help. As my colleague Nico says, we're on the back seat of the car. They are driving the vehicle, okay? But I think it's, you know, I'm very excited that things are progressing, I think,
you expect them to be generative.
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
You expect them to be generative.
Generative, correct, yes.
You said we have many funds nowadays, and then for those who are interested in the Greek ecosystem, I guess this is a more global conversation, but there's a revolution of at least VC funds in Greece, and there's an abundance of capital in supply, right? Available capital at least. this gentleman and his team and what HDBI is doing is a big reason behind that. And Alex, I'm wondering, how strategic is this deployment of funds? Are you proactively selecting or pushing for more AI-focused VCs? Are you driving any strategic partnerships in a national level with other foreign VCs? How strategic is this? What's happening versus, I don't know, just apply?
I'm afraid we are not that sexy because, we are humble functionaries. So what we do is we implement the mandates of the government.
Yeah.
So we cannot do what we wish. But what we have done is we have created the calls in such a way that you can stick AI strategies to almost all of our calls. So we have enabled the fund managers because we are a demand-driven organization. So we welcome the managers to submit their own strategies, raise the private money because you need to do that. But at the end of the day, our presence in synergies like that, because I wouldn't call it a conference, is what makes us, promote those kind of strategies, because this is the only way for Greece to be efficient. We lost the Industrial Revolution. That was the issue, during the 200 years ago. We shouldn't be losing this one as well.
Yeah.
It's a revolution. We have brilliant minds. Like Alex said, we may not be very good at intelligence, but we have proven to be very good at artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
So we should explore that as a nation. And we have all those brilliant people outside, inside the country. They communicate with each other, and this is what makes us strong. Working together. And one a little bit, because you were talking about big enterprises and how they can be involved in that. Of course, we communicate with large corporations in order to assist the AI startups, but this is a choice that Europe has made. Having a lot of public money and all this, issue with the public being involved doesn't really help the big corporations getting involved because it comes with restrictions. So we should, as a Europe, rethink a little bit of how we use the public money.
Yeah. There's international VCs, and I know that one thing that gets me mostly excited about what you guys are doing is that you're now able to invest in foreign VCs with the agreement on their side that they will invest, at least your money, your capital, right? They will match it with investments in the Greek ecosystem, which is investments in Greek ecosystems is Greek founders or international founders who are willing to launch Greek operations and have a Greek presence. So already ambitious and extroverted. And there's tech transfer also, right? Funds that could be focusing on pushing more for research, pushing for the universities, do more tech transfers. There's another data I'm going to just drop here, and probably it's also false. There's zero. All the professors in Greece have companies, right? But all of these companies are consulting firms. They're offering consultancy on how to, I don't know, take a ESPA grant or something, right?
I'm not the one saying that.
I hope I'm not doing something
completely
inappropriate right now.
I used to be, so, but anyway.
How HDBI could be investing in funds and pushing for more growth on those things. Are you looking into this?
Like you said, we try to cover, all the companies from birth to exit, to scale up. It's not only that, we do not only invest in funds that, are willing to invest in Greece, but also participate in the scale-up initiative of Europe that is trying to keep the companies in Europe before they are bought by Chinese or US companies and we lose all the, the wealth, as we say that. We don't believe in that exactly, but we need to keep those companies that are worth it in Europe. And this is what we're trying to do together. So we pool power. This is our motto. It's the cooperation between us and the fund managers, us and the NPIs of abroad. This is what we do.
Wonderful.
This is what we do.
And keep it up. You're doing a fantastic job, by the way. Completely transformed the ecosystem. Spiro, how about everyone else? Like you've worked with the entire spectrum of the Greek business ecosystem. How is everyone else supporting,
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we don't, we're not so much exposed in startups as we would like to, because they are not our main customers, but we do organize hackathons for GenAI. For example, we just recently launched a GenAI hackathon. We do organize meetups with limited groups of students to discuss latest developments in technology like AI, GenAI, etc. But yes, as we said, our main customers are big organizations, big corporations, and we see similar percentages, similar metrics as the ones we measured from McKinsey. According to our survey, maybe 1 in 3, so 30% of all the companies that have launched certain POCs, proof of concepts, demos, have proceeded to the next stage, which is deployment in full production mode. So yes, many of them are trying to do something. So there are hubs of innovation in certain big companies, but nothing which is centrally managed, nothing which is coming from above, like a solid and a robust AI strategy with a robust governance framework, with prioritization criteria to how to identify which use case makes more sense for the company to proceed to the next level. So teams are testing different things, but are not centrally again exposed. And we're seeing this kind of thing. This is where we're trying to steer them and to try to make them more organized in that area.
Wonderful. I'd like to close. We only have 3.5 minutes, and I think I would love to hear your thoughts. I know that the Greek Prime Minister is coming in about 2 hours to speak with the Endeavor Greece Vice Chairman Andreas Stavropoulos on a very interesting fireside chat. Let's assume that he's already in the audience, right? And I think that one very interesting thing is how is this evolving landscape changes the board for countries as well, right? For national markets. And I'm wondering if you had the Prime Minister in front of you, the Greek Prime Minister, and keeping in mind that he's not just the Prime Minister in Greece, but he's also a big advocate and a big, transformative voice in Europe as well. And then we have EU Inc., a big petition trying to make the startup ecosystems one market, one single market in Europe. But again, I'm guessing all I'm saying is you have a minute with the Prime Minister and you have his ear. What would you say this evolving landscape is for Greece and Europe as an opportunity or also a threat, right? What would you like him to keep top of mind for this new landscape? And yes, please.
Well, I happen to have a point of view. What I would say is that government can be a great supporter of innovation. So they have created a center for AI, etc., which is fantastic. They put together professors from Greece, from abroad, etc. This is fantastic. Okay, so this is like pulling, showing the way. But what the government should also do, okay, is also make sure there is a stable environment where we can operate and grow. Right now, there is a new law. It's a sort of a very esoteric about the corporate structure of venture capital funds. Okay, so something has been operating for many, many years. It's about to change. Okay, so in my opinion, okay, making these arbitrary changes, right, mid-flight, are not productive. So going back to your point about intelligence, okay, I think we should, make sure that the things are moving very fast. Yeah. So I think it's important for government. Don't touch anything, right? If you don't know what it will do, okay? So let it fly, if it works, don't break it, okay? So I think this will be priority number 1. The rest, supporting centers of excellence, is icing on the cake. Investing in venture capital funds is very important, okay? But I think that will be my motto.
Wonderful. We have to admit that, I'm not talking politics here, but this government is the most pro-VC government we've ever had.
Yes.
I agree. But he said I have 1 minute with the Prime Minister, so that will be mine.
How about you, Alex? Anything to share with the Prime Minister?
So like I said before, he has to raise the issue of public funds in Europe and the restrictions. We need to use them wisely because, in the United States, they use public funds through other means, tax buffers or, many other fiscal tricks. But our funds comes with a lot of restrictions, so we have to rethink just that, redesign.
Wonderful. Spiro, and I hope Andreas is here. I will share this with Andreas for the conversation.
Right. I think we have to kind of overthrow the perception that the EU exports regulation, so we should start, exporting also innovation. And I think in that area, I think there are many initiatives being going on in the Greek market as well. We have the supercomputer of Daedalus that will be in operation next year. We have AI, also innovation and the startup ecosystems. So I think many things are happening. But I think the most important part is the talent, of course, of Greece. We have, for example, delivery centers in all the major hubs where we have universities like Patras, like Thessaloniki, like Heraklion, like Yanina. So I think for us, human capital is the most important factor of Greece that can leverage.
And we have some, right? I mean, we have a very competitive level of talent, especially in AI.
Absolutely.
Extraordinary. François?
Yeah, I would emphasize what was just said on talent, and it's not just the talent that you currently have in Greece, but leverage your fantastic diaspora. That will enable you to both create partnerships, maybe to have an attractive, let's say, tax plan to make some of them come back home. So I think that this ability to be in Greece and to be everywhere else is absolutely critical, so leverage it.
Yeah. I think a good example of the potential that the Greek diaspora has for AI strategy in Greece is this summit, right? I mean, this is a product of diaspora students, which is an extraordinary example. Nico, take us home. What would you like to share with Prime Minister?
Well, I would be along the same lines of my fellow co-panelists, like try to bring to Greece AI jobs. Like every single new job we move to the country that is done by AI professional is net positive. The more we have, these are high-paid jobs, the bigger of a difference we can make. And as a leader within the EU, try to take it easy with the regulatory heavy handling that the EU is known for.
Yeah, I'm wondering, EU Inc.
Be a bit more lax.
What's your take on EU Inc? Like one single market for European startups?
Great initiative. Andreas Klinger and many others, are awesome visionaries. This is the single biggest problem. Yeah, because winning in Germany doesn't mean anything about winning in France, doesn't mean anything about winning in Spain. You launch in the US, common market. This is where, American companies manage to transcend over European companies. It's a great initiative. And Europe cannot afford to miss out on the AI revolution. We lost the software revolution to the Americans, lost the internet revolution to the Americans. We have a chance. The talent is there, money is plentiful, and everyone is hungry. So seize the day, now's the time.
Wonderful.
Great. Well said.
Thank you so much. We took 5 extra minutes, but exciting times ahead. Thank you everyone for joining this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.